Sox in the basement.
Two straight shows of me wearing White Sox gear. Just want to point that out for those that, I'm still a fan. See? Yeah. I'm just proving my fandom here, buddy. That's what in fact, you know what? I'm going to put these on. These are White Sox shades. They say Chicago White Sox on the side of them. I'll double it up. Double down on the whole thing today and look super cool in my White Sox shades. I got these when I was at that food preview thing that they did at the ballpark.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Me and Alyssa Bergamini were grabbing our gift bags at the same time. That's common stuff, I guess, when they have an event. I was like, we get gift bags? She's like, we always get gift bags. It's like, really?
Well, you didn't know. You've not been invited.
No, but I got invited. And I want the White Sox to see. I'm using my gifted sunglasses. I used these on the beach in Florida, and I'm using them now on the show to prove my fandom.
Right, there you go. So, I apologize. I do not have White Sox branded sunglasses on. But
Ed is officially off of dialysis. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've peed well over the past few weeks, so.
And now they have tubes they got to take out of you, right?
I got tubes still in my chest that got to come out, but all in good time.
And when that happens, you get to finally take a shower.
Maybe. I still have open wounds from the surgery, so we'll see how that goes.
What do you do? What are you sponge bathing? What are you doing at that?
Yeah, I'm sponge bathing, but the problem is
you got somebody giving them to you?
No, it's self-inflicted.
That's a shame.
It really is.
I think if you go through what you went through, somebody should be giving you a sponge bath.
Well, the dog has tried a couple of times, but
not the same, buddy.
No. And I got to trim his nails, and he smells kind of bad. So
maybe we'll get a GoFundMe going so we can hire somebody to give you a sponge bath, like a proper sponge bath. If you got to wait a little bit longer, so you're not doing it yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Something we can think about. Something we can do. You're listening to or watching on YouTube Sox in the Basement. It's brought to you by Hyatt Home Medical Equipment. Mother's Day is coming up, and Hyatt wants your mom to be able to make that next transition in life. They put together a guide on how to give your mom something truly life-changing, independence, from making her home safer and helping her travel again. See how you can honor her with the gift of confidence with Hyatt Home Medical Equipment. If mom needs stair lifts, ramps, grab bars, lift chairs, even bathroom remodeling, Hyatt will work with your insurance. They have 0% financing for qualified individuals. They got the latest and greatest in CPAP machines. They got continuous glucose monitors. They have so many things for you depending on what you need at a great price, great consultation, amazing showroom, helpful staff. Visit them in Evergreen Park. See everything they have to offer at hhme.com. The Sox Nerd is on this show later on. Before we kick off this show and talk about the ridiculous amount of home runs over the last couple of days, and maybe the greatest call that John Schriffen has ever made, but he can probably screw it up, and that's what has me afraid. Here's the nerd with just a little tidbit to get you ready for the back end of this show.
I'm the Sox Nerd with my weekly White Sox Stumper. Who is the only White Sox player with 2 3-homer games? I'll have the answer at the end of my spiel later in this podcast.
Sox Nerd was texting me during the game on Wednesday night. We were just going back and forth about just oddities, things that were being discovered in the broadcast. And I'm like, did you know this? And we were just going back and forth, and he was looking up stuff as that game was going on, because it's pretty insane. I saw a stat where of all the White Sox players that have homered in Arizona in that ballpark, now the top 4 distances are all from this series.
And then Todd Frazier.
And then the Todd father. He knocked one out that was pretty deep. But he used to be at the top of the list. Now he's 5. And we're recording before the last game of this series. Murakami could have hit one.
The Todd father's going down. Yeah. He's not going to be on that list anymore.
It's possible that by the time you watch this show, Murakami hit a 575-foot home run that literally caught on fire as it left. I wouldn't put anything past this guy. I mean, this is amazing. And I believe it. I believe it because they said he couldn't hit fastballs. And he said, oh no, watch this. And then they started throwing him nothing but slapping off speed pitches. And you know what he did? He started taking pitches. Like, he may be a 3 true outcome guy, but he started taking pitches. He started taking a lot of walks. He started watching those off-speed pitches. He stopped chasing them. He's not chasing out there. He just had to figure out how to hit them. And I want to say his last 3 or 4 home runs are all off-speed pitches.
Yeah, the last grouping, this last cluster, sliders, changeups,
curveball.
We saw the curveball off of Jeffrey Springs in the Arizona, or in the A's series.
And they're no doubters. I mean, they're absolute. Like, he hits them like he's in a home run competition. He hits it, and then he just watches it, and he has every right to do that because they're bombs coming off of his bat. I mean, imagine if you had like a real lineup around this guy. Like Miguel Vargas. Miguel Vargas is a streaky hitter. Take advantage of this right now before he comes back down to earth. But imagine if you had a lineup that was good enough that Vargas was in the spot he should be, which is probably a 7 hitter, right? A guy who can hit some home runs, but is going to hit around 200. You don't want that guy in the middle of your lineup. He's in the 2 and a 3 spot lately. If the lineup was solid, he wouldn't be in there with a real lineup. If you had something built around this guy, the sky would be the limit because you're getting pretty good pitching most of the time from your starting pitchers, and you've got a couple of relief pitchers. Like, you can see the possibilities, and at the same time, you're like, oh man, they're going to lose him. They're gonna feel like they have to trade him at the deadline, if not this year, then next, because somebody's going to pay him a boatload of money. And if I'm Chris Getz, I know the easy thing to do is say, well, this is what my owner is, and there's no way I'm going to be able to keep him. But what he really should be doing is building as quickly as humanly possible and showing him that it's better to be the best player in Chicago than to be just one of the great players on the Dodgers or the Yankees or something like that. And he should be trying to figure it out, because I think, what is he hitting now, around 250? I think that's his floor. I think he's 250 and well over 50 home runs. I mean, all his home runs are coming in warm weather. If you look at it, he goes up against the Brewers, he goes on that tear. It's because he's in a dome. He goes out to the West Coast, he gets better weather, bombs everywhere. It's going to warm up in Chicago. It's already starting to warm up. Wait till he figures it out here.
Well, and then you're going to hear a lot of John Schriffen saying, show me the Mooney.
That was a good call, but I'm afraid he's going to do that.
Call.
He's going to do that like 100 times now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where it's going to become bad. Like, it was a great call. When he hits that home run on Wednesday night, and it is a bomb, almost to dead center field. It's like right center he hits it into. And
it looked like it was headed for the scoreboard if it stayed.
He was trying to hit a car
center
in the parking lot. I mean, like, he was trying to put it through the wall of that stadium, because that's a dome stadium. He was trying to just sear a hole through the wall and get out onto the street. And that's a great call if it's every once in a while, you know?
Yeah, if it's when he really tattoos one, and it's headed 450 feet, and it's just an absolute destruction of a baseball.
Right.
You know, something that flies so long that it should have a stewardess on it. You're gonna use that call, right? But if it's kind of he doesn't really hit mundane home runs, but if it's one that's like, hey, you know, he got a decent piece of it and it's going to go over the wall, you know, stick with your regular home run call. You know, I would hate to have him start trying to come up with forced puns for everybody who hits home runs, because I don't know what he's going to do with Colson Montgomery. Well,
it's all about learning. You see, that's the thing. I mean, I always sit there. Look, I'm not a fan of his. I think that's pretty obvious.
No, really?
I'm surprised that he's still here. I think he's only here because the owner's like, I'm not paying a broadcaster to sit at home. And I don't think he's getting renewed. Maybe they will. But I just think that he's got to do an awful lot more for them to consider doing that. I think it sounds like there's at least enough rumor around. There's at least enough smoke around it that it's not good between him and Stone. There's an awful lot of the fan base that is like, I don't want to listen to this guy. He has come across at times of not knowing the rules of the game. He says really odd things. And, you know, they did throw him under the bus last month. I mean, Murakami reportedly okayed Southside Samurai. And the team could not wait to paint him as a racist and to get it out there that they were mad at him for using it on air. Right. Even though the player said it was okay. So like everything tells you he's probably not sticking around. But I remember when Jason Benetti was first starting, he was trying to be Hawk Harrelson. He was trying to find his phrase, and eventually he kind of stopped because I think he paid attention to what he was doing. He probably listened to himself and went back and was like, I kind of sound ridiculous. I have to stop doing that. It's like a tendency, I think, for newer play-by-play guys. Everybody wants to be Hawk. But these days, when you look at other broadcasts around the country for other teams, the best guys rotate different things through, and it's more genuine when they throw stuff out there. That's why that call's awesome if it's used every once in a while and not for every one of his home runs, because he's probably got another 40 to 50 in him this year, and I don't want to hear it that many times.
No. And you know, the shame about Southside Samurai, it's the kind of nickname that if it catches on across the league, it's going to be really hard for him to take that to Dodger Stadium because, you know, the Chavez Samurai doesn't really kind of roll off the tongue.
It's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is he's just auditioning to be a Dodger. And that's the plight of being a White Sox fan, is seeing what you have here and knowing you only have him for 2 years.
Couldn't Chris Getz go to Justin Ishbia and say, let's do what the Dodgers do. Let's set up a contract, guarantee a whole bunch of money, but you're going to be here. Let's defer. You know, you're going to be paying this guy for a long time, but we want to keep him here for a really long time.
That's the path. That's the path. The path is to do one of those deferred contracts and talk to Ishbia and say, look, by such and such, there's a date where he gets to take over the team if he wants to. And I guarantee the first day that he can force a sale, he's taking it from Jerry Reinsdorf. Okay. Because he wants to be the owner. He's standing there calling himself the owner while he's standing next to the Pope in Rome. He's taken the team. So it's only a matter of time. So if Getz sits there and says, look, I want to pay him this, I want to backload it, you'll be the owner at the time, what do you think? I can get Jerry to agree to the backloaded contract. That might be the only path. Jerry's not going to be paying it. Right. That might be the only path for him. For exterior windows, doors, patio doors, and storm doors, look no further than Window and Door Superstore of Oak Forest. No high pressure sales. They are not showing up at your place and telling you this is the deal. And if you don't take it, I'm not going to be able to get this deal again. Hold on a second. Let me call my manager. Let me figure out whether or not I can go this low. I hate that kind of stuff. And I hate those kind of salespeople. They are not those people. Instead, you go into their showroom. There's an owner there answering all your questions. No pictures in a book. Actually, the merch, the stuff that's going to be in your home, right there for you to see. An owner on site for install with their own installers. They never farm out the work to outside people. They've been doing it that way in Oak Forest since 1985 with all major brands custom made and no stock items for a perfect fit. Window and Door Superstore of Oak Forest is a half block east of 159th and Ridgeland at 6280 159th Street. See more at windowdooroakforest.com. I may stop by there this weekend. I'm thinking about going car shopping. And from what I understand, Window and Door Superstore of Oak Forest has shirts for us, fancy ones.
Oh, okay.
Like nice. Button downs, like nice shirts. Because right after I talked about how I need to wear more White Sox shirts, supposedly, according to the comments on the YouTube channel, I immediately got a text like, more sponsor shirts too.
Oh, right.
I'm gonna have to do outfit changes like the Oscars for the
video.
We're
gonna have to have an intermission in every show. It's only 30 minutes, but we're going to have an intermission at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, just so I can change. I can change. Anthony K, I tweeted this the other night. Anthony K is the first guy that is leaving that rotation when they're ready to put somebody in. I think it's fairly obvious. I think he's somebody that you move into your bullpen. I don't think they're just getting rid of him. And I think that you get rid of one of these terrible bullpen arms that you have, but it's going to be somebody. And I wanted to ask you what you thought about Shane Smith right now down in Charlotte and the whole situation in Charlotte. If you haven't been paying any attention to this, there's an odd thing happening down there in AAA. You've got pitchers that they're tagged to get to Chicago sometime soon. And they're pitching well down there, but they're not pitching for very long. They're not getting stretched out. Like, perfect example, Hagen Smith. He's got a 1.76 earned run average. The whip is on the higher end, but it's still 1.30. Okay? He's got 5 starts in only 15 and a third innings. What are you doing down there? He's not going to be stretched out enough. Is he going to come up here with a 70 pitch limit on him when you finally bring him up here? Are you starting him in the bullpen? Kind of like with Chris Sale before he became a starter. Tanner McDougal has 4 starts and less than 20 innings. He's got a 1.14 whip. He's pitching very well. We're not stretching him out. We're not making him pitch longer. I mean, Noah Schultz had 3 starts and only 14 innings pitched before they brought him up here. And they brought him up here with a pitch count. And now I'm looking at Shane Smith. Remember him? He's your all-star from last year. He's the guy that got off to a terrible start in spring, a terrible start to the season, gets sent down. I applauded that. I think a lot of people didn't think that they would pull the trigger that quick, but they sent him down. It was the right move. Well, he's had 2 starts. He's got a 0.89 whip, but he only has 9 innings in those first 2 starts. So the question then becomes, one, is it taking him 90 pitches to get through what would be 4.5 innings? Or is it taking him 100 pitches to do that? Because then he's not ready to come up. Or is there something going on in Charlotte where they're basically like, once you've gone out and shown us that you're pretty good for a couple innings, we want to sit you back down again because we want to save those innings for when you get to the majors later on this year. What do you think is going on?
Well, he's only thrown 145 pitches in the 2 appearances that he's had since he's gone down to Charlotte.
So it's not too many pitches.
No. So, I mean, that's about 70 something. And by comparison, Tanner McDougal over his 4 starts, 19 innings, 318 pitches, which is 79.5 on average. So it sounds like they're keeping him in the like 70 to 80 pitch range. And if that's what, if that gets you through 5, which is probably about right, if you think about it, you get 100 pitches. If you're super efficient, like Davis Martin was his last start, you can carry 100 pitches into the 7th inning. But for somebody like Shane Smith, who does get into deeper pitch counts because he's more of a strikeout guy than a contact guy, 100 pitches, 6 innings. If you're getting 70 pitches over 4 or 5, 80 pitches into the 6th inning, that works out. So I think they're just saving them down there in the bandbox of Charlotte. And if they're super effective, you've seen what you need to see. And then when they get up here, now there's nothing saying that if Shane Smith comes up and makes his next start, that Will Venable's not going to let him go 100, not because he hasn't done it, but he's done it before, right? So with the young guy, though, with like a McDougal, yeah, I think they're going to keep him on a pitch count. I think they're doing that right now with Noah Schultz. It's just that he's been very, very effective and pretty efficient with his pitches. So he's able to stretch it a little bit further. I mean, ultimately, that's what you want, though. You just want these guys to be efficient, keep guys off base, it keeps your pitch count low, and then you can go longer innings. I mean, that's probably more the lesson than the old school. You're going to go 8, and if it takes you 140 pitches to go 8, then so be it. It's not the Nolan Ryan era where, he's going to throw almost 150 pitches because he's working on a no-hitter, that kind of a thing. So I don't think it's a matter of them not stretching him out. I think it's just a matter of saying, here's how many pitches we want to let Shane Smith throw in Charlotte, because when he comes back, we do expect him to be a key member of the rotation and help carry us forward. And so, we'll let the chips fall where they may when he gets back up here, as far as going 100, going a little bit over, and how many innings that gives. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're talking pitch counts, it's about efficiency. So, that's why you watch somebody like Davis Martin, who has become more efficient, and you watch how he can he's not throwing 120 pitches either. He can take 100 pitches and go almost 7 when he's on.
Yeah, and I think the goal always has to be that you get guys that it only takes 100 pitches to get to 7 or 8 innings. I mean, that used to be the way that baseball was, right?
Right.
And that's and if you have a good defense and you're pitching the contact, you can start doing that, and that's what you'd like to see long term. So, based upon what you're telling me, then there isn't it. They at least feel like, through the first 2 starts, they have to feel like Shane Smith is figuring out whatever he needed to figure out. I would imagine he'll be back here in 2 weeks or less if he continues this. If he continues it, K goes into the bullpen, and you get rid of one of these guys that's terrible. Like Wednesday night. I keep going back to that game because it was, even though they lost, it was probably like one of the I didn't feel bad during that loss because there were just so many things that I saw that were just so interesting, and the offense is starting to click, which I was excited about. And I think Will Venable kind of gave up. K has a terrible start, and when you send Jordan Hicks out there, you've given up. That's kind of how I feel.
That feels like a give up move.
Well, Jordan Hicks, this guy that's on the team that I don't understand why you picked him up because everybody else got rid of him, and you're going to end up getting rid of him soon. Osvaldo Bido. I mean, that's a guy that's another one. Like, he went into the game in the first game of that series against the Diamondbacks because you had a huge lead and gave up runs. But you were like, well, he can give up a few runs to be bad because we just need the innings. We just need the pitches. We don't care how he gets to it. Hicks is the same thing. I mean, you're paying him a lot of money, but that was because it was a salary dump. You didn't pick up Jordan Hicks because you thought Jordan Hicks was good. At some point, they got to move on from him. So a guy like Hicks or a guy like Bido, that's who K should be replacing in the bullpen, and Smith should be up. And that, because like right now I'm seeing Grant Taylor good things, Jordan Leisure good things. Sean Newcomb has started the show some good, some bad, but that's basically what he is. Okay, Brian Hudson, basically what he is. They just brought up this Tyler Davis kid. Just grabbed another arm in Charlotte. He was pitching well down there, so let's see what he can do. All right. The only three names I haven't mentioned that are currently in your bullpen are Sir Anthony Dominguez, who's going to get way too long of a leash because you gave him a bunch of money, and I don't think he's a closer, but I don't think they know what to do otherwise right now. So that's got to get sorted out. And you got Hicks and Bido. So my thing is, if I'm a general manager, I'm going, okay, once Shane Smith, once we're sure, he comes up, and K, he goes to the bullpen. And that's what we're doing here. And then imagine that rotation. If you have a Smith like last year's Smith in Shane Smith, and then you have Noah Schultz, and you have Davis Martin doing the things that he's doing, and Eric Fetty has been solid. I mean, Sean Burke is essentially the fifth starter at that point. You're putting it together.
I got a few complaints about Sean Burke over his last few starts.
Yeah, you're really putting it together. I mean, you're down, you're below 500 right now, but I mean, this is the kind of team, if they can just find enough offense and they get that pitching, they could slowly but surely get up to the 500 mark. Like, if somebody sat there and told me, Chris, there's absolutely no way, I'll give you the odds on this, but there's no way this team is 500 at the All-Star break, I would say there is a chance they are 500 by the All-Star break. There is a chance that they are sitting in third or fourth place in the division, and they're not a bottom hanging team. There's also the chance they're a bottom hanging team with a 350 winning percentage. That could happen as well. These are the White Sox of the last couple of years. But there is the possibility, if you see the positive things from your lineup that are starting to happen, if you see them continue to cycle out the bad and bring in the good, which they have been doing, not as much as I wish they would, but they have been doing, there is a possibility. They have a great run right here on their schedule that I look at as this is the difference in the whole season. It started with the A's, ran through the Diamondbacks. You got the Nationals, you got the Angels, you go into May, and you've got the Padres. That's probably a tough series, right? Then you go right back to the Angels after that. There's a little stretch here. Those two series against the Angels, the series they just finished with the A's where they took 2 out of 3. This series with the Diamondbacks, this series with the Nationals at home that's coming up this weekend. This is where you make your hay. This is where you close the gap a little bit, trying to claw your way back to 500. And you hope that you see some of these players start to put it together. And it's like, well, it was a slow start. Like maybe Sam Antonacci just needed to adjust. Hasn't looked that bad the last couple days. Right? And that's what you're hoping for. As a fan, that's what you're watching. You got to zoom in sometimes. This is kind of a zoom in the next couple of weeks at this team and kind of watch what the front office does, Ed.
Well, and not only that, watch how individual players respond, right? Because, we've been talking about how Everson Pereira looks really good. And he may be the best all-around player on the team in terms of defense, hitting for average, hitting for power, things like that. And, although I will say Murakami's defense at first is a lot better than advertised.
He's a picking machine.
Yeah. And so, I may be wrong about that statement, but how does he maintain? Is this who he is, or is this a hot streak, and is he Miguel Vargas in the outfield? How does Sam Antonacci adjust? Does he find a place here where he's going to be able to move into basically an everyday role, or maybe at least a strong side platoon role. How do some of these young players respond? I mean, Tristan Peters has started to contribute again after being kind of worthless for a little bit there at the plate. There's all sorts of things that you can watch, and it's some of the pictures that come up too. You watch the individual players, and then that'll tell you a little bit too about, as you said, recycling out the bad for the good. Is there good coming up, or is it just, this is just maybe different than what we're sending down? Now, the plus for the White Sox this year in terms of getting to a 500 record or not going on an extended losing streak is apparently Luis Robert Jr. has a Charlie Brown-esque black cloud above his head. Because the Mets lost 12 straight.
It's amazing. Especially after he threw shade at the Sox at the beginning of the season in the New York press.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, I've never played in front of a big crowd. I remember when you played in front of big crowds, but then those crowds went away when you couldn't make it onto the field, and you and all your buddies were just terrible, and it just fell flat on your face after all those expectations. But now he's now, like, you're right. He's like the cursed player. He goes to your team and he kills it. So good move. Hey, and Luis Angel Acuna is hitting. For the last week, he's hitting 300 right now with an OPS over 750. In fact, if you look at the last week, Acuna, Mydroth, and Antonacci, along with the Vargas streak and the Tristan Peters, he's had a couple of bats that were pretty good. It's not that much over the last week, but there are some guys that are starting to put together. Again, the A's and the teams they're playing right now and the matchups they're getting. I mean, look, Merrill Kelly has been a great pitcher, but the other day when they faced Merrill Kelly, look, I knew going into that game, he is just not that guy right now. He's not the same. He was totally a hittable pitcher. So they're getting really good matchups. They're taking advantage of it. We'll see where it goes. That music means the Sox nerd, Dave Marin, is on the line with all of his trivia nuggets and tidbits and all the good stuff he throws up on the scoreboard at the rate for every home game. And then he's with us each and every week right here on Sox in the Basement with that and much, much more. Brought to you by the Village of Lamont. Want to experience a downtown with real history, great eats and drinks, and green spaces filled with adventure? Visit the Village of Lamont. Shop, dine, drink, explore. Check out the Lamont Unlocked podcast as I explore the Village of Lamont and so much more at lamontdowntown.com. Nerd, what do you got for us?
Chris, here's another look at how the Sox nerd makes his sausage. This shows the lengths I'll go to get one stat on the scoreboard at the rate. Some call it crazy, some call it obsessive. I wish I could show you all the looks my sister gives me when I launch into one of my research finds. It's an expression of stunned amazement with a heavy helping of worry. Anyway, this is my passion and I absolutely love it, and thanks to all who indulged me in this. My latest trip down the rabbit hole occurred on Tuesday night when Sam Antonacci tripled and laced an in-the-park homer in the White Sox 11-5 win at Arizona. As the Nuggets started to fly about Sam's in-the-park homer, it was the first by a Sox player since Nicky Delmonico in 2017, and the first by a Sox player for his first MLB homer since Kevin Bell in 1976, I started looking for more. The triple in-the-park homer combo is rare, right? After all, these are two of the most unique, not to mention exciting plays in baseball. I checked my go-to stat sites, and there was nothing on this. Sadly, there is no updated comprehensive list of in-the-park homers. If there is, I haven't found it, or it isn't readily available. The Sox have a list of in-the-park homers in their media guide that dates to 1950. I then called up the list of White Sox players who tripled and homer in the same game using the Baseball Reference StatHead database. Checking the Sox list against the Baseball Reference list, I got through 1950 pretty quickly. None of the 42 Sox players who hit an in-the-park homer between 1950 and the moment Antonacci stepped into the batter's box in the ninth inning in Phoenix had collected a triple in the same game. I had 52 names and games to check on the Baseball Reference list of Sox players with a triple and in-the-park homer in the same game starting at 1949 and working backward. This consisted of clicking on each player's home run log to check if he had an in-the-park shot. If there was one, I then checked to see if there was a triple in that game. On my 20th check, I struck gold and it was a doozy. On May 26, 1933, Luke Appling tripled and hit an in-the-park homer in a wild White Sox 8-6 win at Yankee Stadium. The triple came in the 7th, and the homer came in the 9th in a game that featured a whopping 10 Hall of Famers and ended when Red Faber got Babe Ruth to ground out feebly to first. So when you see the Antonacci graphic at the park soon that reads, "Game with a triple and in-the-park homer on April 21st in Arizona was the first by a White Sox player since Luke Appling on May 22nd, 1933 at Yankee Stadium," you'll know how it got there. I gotta give you a few gems on home run machine Munetaka Murakami. The blast he hit on Wednesday to give him a club record-tying home runs in 5 straight games traveled a career-best 451 feet. Murakami reached 10 homers in his 24th Major League game, which is a Sox record. The previous mark was held by Jose Abreu, who reached double digits in dingers in his 26th game. And Murakami and Colson Montgomery are the first pair of teammates in Major League history to homer in 4 straight games. Before I get to my stumper answer and zinger, let me remind you that gems like these and others are available on my blog, which you can access at soxinthebasement.com. I'm also posting daily on X and Threads. Harold Baines is the answer to my Sox stumper. He is the only player in Sox history with multiple 3-homer games. My zinger, let me go back a ways. I can't believe that when it happened, I didn't report that the Sox sweep of the Blue Jays earlier this season was their first of a reigning AL champ since September of 2016 when they broomed the Royals in Kansas City. The last time the Sox swept the AL champs at home was in July of 2012 when they whipped the Rangers. That's it, guys. Probably more than you wanted to know about my dinging, inside the park home runs, and Luke Appling.
Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement.
Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always on soxinthebasement.com.